James D. Just now, Truth Finder, please read in full. No, I have been dealing with a conspiracy that I have placed certain elements to your site's email help address as well as attached on 2 social media platforms, such as Truth Finder. Now to uproot the injury of silence they ignore all communication channels and unable to respond to walls of informational warfare. Please keep this comment affixed to this report. Urgency of emergency of imperative directives here. Note the standard to which this comment lexicon applies. http://webdomains Affirming net/LinkedIn com/standards fucking company names png http://alan-john-leahy via messenger Veterans Day 2018 November 112018-859 Link provided off details recorded. Not confirmed received. He has not heb also continueth the standard of silence. He must concede moral agency. Jennifer Ann Brem. Fuck Juffuman. net/gmail %20% 20 response %22% 20 housing %20 question. HTML The court record will archived to this standard. I know you don't have the balls to file against me and pull this into a court magistrate at any level of review. I claim in writing response to your client's extremely off-marker email in writing that I received from Miss Brem. Good morning Mr. Driscoll. Not sure if you recall, our housing department endeavored to help you with various options over the last several months. The options that I have chosen to follow up with documented application was 1. I can't verify the status of any other, because I have not paperwork for that effort of selected choices yet. I was given 2 choices, one I followed through with and the other was waiting for another appointment time to follow through with that application process. I do believe the statement above from Miss Brem is a false representation of fact. The program that I actually applied for was a deflection of a program that I actually do not qualify for. Here is the clincher. I had an intake appointment for the shelter on G Street, which the first one, the lady, Jewel, did not show up for. The appointment is as 2 p.m. appointment. I ended up coming back home and rescheduling. The second appointment that I went to, the person to whom I was supposed to meet again, Jewel, was not there at the time of my appointment. Mr. Maynard conveniently was on vacation this time. So, I progressed forward to wait there for a full hour with a different staff member. I don't recall her name, but definitely staff member. I can describe her no problem, to file the application. I proceeded with that application after she had to contact FAP and get my file. This was conducted by fax. Her patience of obvious misoperational standard, with leaving me wait in a room for this process. Obviously, I was not leaving anywhere. This was a 10:30 a.m. appointment. There was plenty of minutes remaining of the workday clock. She was of course apologetic. So, that is a fact of the confusing way this housing was processed. There is something fishy going on here. The end of the process was to wait for the persons to review the application and get back to me. I still have never received that call back. This is the way one, and only one filed application program was established, that being a program referral by Mr. Maynard to simply call 211 and tell them I am couch surfing / living in my car instead of the facts that they have to provide housing location services in the standard to which I am actually living. That is housing for independent living, just like it says in the Ryan White Care Act housing section of standards of care. they are not following the guidelines, and that my dearest counsel at this point in the game is a criminal neglectful charge, and people die from HIV homelessness. They don't care and they want to kill us with kindness and no can challenge it, but that was what I was made to believe. I am still waiting for a proper qualified and documented actual process of housing resources, a system of responsible operations that the staff for the housing tasks there are actually operating their job duty. But they are just ghost positions. They aren't really working that task. They are bullshitting the day away cushy job if I say so myself. They will not comply and follow through with a validated qualified program that I should apply for. They don't even know what the current state of available properties that are open on a waiting list are. They are incapable of housing assistance because they have slack off their years of service to be playing games. A fraud on the public. The Google review accurate. Everything given assistance to me has been a ruse. Fraudulent. What I have that I will have to subpoena Mr. Maynard to the court sworn testimony. That hours, of 48 hours, prior to the appointment I had with Jewel at Lutheran Shelter, Mr. Maynard called me the day before he left on vacation. Specifically emphasis to be sure to tell them that I was living in my car and couch surfing, a setup, was being attempted here. To what setup I could not yet know until I filed the paperwork and signed the Declaration of Truth. I declare that the facts on this application are true. If they are not true, that the services that I am applying to would be denied, of course, and further assistance services also suspended. Once I read that clause I realized what this little maneuver was for. To be able to suspend my right to resources because I signed a declaration. I signed that declaration and then immediately placed into the record of the SMS chat conversation that had active present reply back /form conversation from Mr. Maynard. I told him that I was very disappointed in what was my housing appointment. That I had to sign an application, mirroring the full intake application form for re-signing up with contracted services of FAP. The FAP applications weeks prior, the full intake to FAP services application that first filled out accurate to the situation at hand. This living with my mother. My mother has attended every single meeting time session with Mr. Maynard. How could I be with my mother as a constant truth every meeting session, and not be living with her? Mr. Maynard, no matter what he has told you, is lying through his front teeth. This email archived on record, personal ethics being challenged. This mirroring application that I filed with a different agency entity, the same form, was stipulating I was living in my car and couch surfing. A conflict of truth, and that this disappointment was not what I desired to have in my case management. Mr. Maynard told me that he was my case manager and then backed out of that role in the last meeting time, saying he was not my case manager. He managed to tell me a deception in response to my SMS disappointment elements. I thought you were couch surfing and left that conversation to never reply again, I do believe. I am not giving the full and complete account record to you. You will use those facts against me in court to try to discount my record. My record here in Messenger is archival onto a side domain. Did you know that? I will use it as foundation before I proceed to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I have done this with the Messenger content at FAP on file where you know that place of emphases of actual content service namespace. I hold one of the most unique cyber IDs to ever exist on the planet. I will use the tools that I have at my resource, legally applicable for this case. Further, if we go to court, I can store the evidence record, every attorney involved, every judge made to magistrate, every witness called to the stand. Every word I have ever written to the standard, I know I am right and this situation is full of crap wrongdoing. I don't need an insider's perspective, but on Glassdoor there is already established an antitrust working environment of misfeasance and ghost leadership. I don't make things up out of the thin clear blue sky. My standard of documentation - I require new case management standards that gets captured and saved for the record of court evidence, testimonial standard, just like the rest of the world can do. No, we are barred from using the tools that best serve us, the client base. Walk-in requests and meetings that no one has placed the calendar of events to a journal that has been properly managed. Subjective here. Let's subpoena the record to place to a jury - scuttle, make sure you get it right in a real quick hustle, get it right. It should be auditable to calling clients at will and ask their recalled facts of their case for the record. I will do every single possible option to stop this conspiracy from turning another sand-dripping dysfunctional interface from leaving that filled hourglass running to the bottom of this massive mischievous marvel of molding muck mess. I write those words to Dr. Howard Newsman 2007. 11 years ago, Mr. Leahy. You are looking at a conspiracy and you, my dearest attorney, have met your match, and I have not a single legal law merit of education lesson time. But I know what I know is true, and fuck you for being an enabler of hate. I don't trust you can actually step aside and do the right thing. A Pandora's box of creation that no one knows how to terminate. I think you are an agent of hate. You definitely are the representative counsel for agents of irresponsibility, civil legal liability, criminal legal liability, neglect of case management duty, intentional deceptions of representation to slant an evidence record that is not true. Both Mr. Maynard and Miss Brem are guilty of this behavior. You are representing agents of hate, actors of criminal intent and criminal activities under the roof of FAP. Since it is you that is on the hook for moral agency in the public forum's delivery of a tagged posting record chain, of which you can choose to block and it won't untag, it is forever content-crafted creations that remain affixed to your face. That face looks pretty dark and deep with a mess on it. What exactly is that on your face? Yuck, human feces, or at least the digital representation of it. You are stuck with having the deal with the truth, written to a standard that I do not lie, cheat, or steal my way through life. I expect that same standard with the care and concern that should be within the agency holding status as being funded by the Ryan White Carr Act, and frankly this is a fraud onto the American people that the FBI is turning a blind eye to investigate. They, the agency collective, are acting as untouchable, willing to commit any kind of act of insolence onto the record if they think no one can challenge it. Mental health, their expertise of mental illness of me. That is an excuse to not be held accountable. They are the ones who have affected the mental health quality of my life. If not for them, a collective hate group of elites, that are in control of multiple agency organizations across the full national order of service providers. That I can prove is true, with grand jury ruling of case already established that Glassdoor reviews and the identities of their authors can be sought out for court-referenced testimony proceedings. That evidence is obvious to anyone who takes the time to open their minds up. What is before you is a fraud onto the HIV community, and the trickling evidence is being made by many others outside of an individual's client's account. They testify as mental unstable of client who desires to have opinion, voice, control. Determinant to retain a life free of haters and dignity released back into any kind of sanity. They have been getting away with this for decades. When will this conspiracy that is afoot here at the hands of an attorney refusing to see the truth before it is fucking too late? Will you turn a direction of change to fix the system that people of HIV infection are a causality of this system, not a surviving, thriving status. When will you actually read what I have on public record, and when will you take that content seriously? You are treading on treacherous waters, Mr. Leahy. I have the balls, the biggest balls of them all, to stop this conspiracy in its tracks. Court testimony will be called that Mr. Leahy was using Facebook feature of ignore prior to my initiation of that protocol, grounds for disbarment, attempting culpable deniability of the truth, counsel representing the same conditions as his client, Foothill Aids Project, ignoring their client's communication and verbal spoken session. Opinions and truths, violations of nonfeasance at its highest, roadblock to get truth forward, insolence of its highest offense. Full Facebook Messenger content archived here, http://fuckjuffuman. net/organizations/Leahy. Law. firm/Facebook/Messenger %20% 20 Allen %20 J %20 Leahy %20% 5B %20 Media %20 Sharing %20% 20 Enabled %20 Features %20 of %20 FB %20 Messenger %20% 20 No %20 Other %20 Option %20 Replacement %20% 20% 5D. HTML. James Driscoll status is online. James Driscoll owner, real Affirming. Net 1D edited Alan Leahy. I have no choice but to place to the public record my initiation contact truth to what is really happening with your client's request to issue a cease and desist order letter against a client who knows the truth about something you may not realize is happening and has been happening for years. What is showing in the informational warfare realities of negative outlook, Glassdoor employee reviews of Ryan White Care Act funded non-profit agencies, multiple region-to-region reports, major fault of toxic, distrusting and upper management ghosts, leadership reflecting an obvious memeplex foundation structure flaw in the creation business model of these agencies. I did not write up this established data set record. A causality that HIV clients are tier level below employees' direct, not indirect, involvements that are impacting client standards of care. Legal requirements ist by expectations of the Ryan White Care Act are ignored. Simply stated, they are not representing the actual truth. Something is wrong to its extreme. When someone steps forward, hate and retaliation against speaking that truth or desiring change to a client empowerment purpose instead of the end point cash flows that more likely has been fleeced from the total pie. #HIV deaths. Aaron Jacobson, Local Guide Times. One review a year ago. This agency is fraudulent in its services and practices when it comes to serving the HIV population and utilizing Ryan White funding. My recommendation for any HIV client interested in signing with them is to run as far and as fast as you can. They treat HIV consumers with contempt and unprofessionalism. 4. James Driscoll, you author owner, real Affirming. Net Alan Leahy, I am going to tell you that I have already placed a folder data record of our interactions that must be taken into account this truth. We cannot proceed like this truth does not exist and not respond on to my correspondences for months just go unanswered. They act as though they have no moral agency and moral responsibility to accept this truth and carry forward a client's agenda to stop and end this hate paradigm that's been targeting me directly 10+ years. I have been calling for a difference of client interface for years. I realize that one region's agency versus another region's agency has an implied independence in operation. But in a linking chain of causality events, I had a mental health advocacy letter issued by the predecessor of Ms. Brem's position as Mental Health Program Director. This letter was written in 2007 and has a profound statement of advice written from a PhD level of expertise by Dr. Howard Newsom, PhD. We have a statement of resolution to these matters that in 2017/2018 is frankly intentionally, neglectful and nonfeasance, is being ignored. This letter has already been placed to public published status first public copy on Twitter linked to then President Barack Obama. High expectations.
Words above. Emoji loud crying face. Reads. Please fix/help me find happy again. Your message here. Dear Ryan White Care Act Social Service Agency and/or Contracted Services. County Administration Office. I am in need of an intervention of case exceptions. That issues a letter of commitment in holding a place in support of my needs, and formats that stipulate a promise offered upon me that if the haters collective elite begins to hate against me again in local community affairs, as has happened in 2 separate locations in my case management history, I will have resources made available to my resolve of identifying the haters collective and being able to control and stop this hate and harassment paradigm that is in current place with ignorance and silence to the circumstances of the case management story intake that allows them the haters to win and I lose my stability and my housing tenancy, their endgame. I need a letter of commitment that a shift paradigm must apply to my case needs. At Grow Up 2018, Great Reasons Us Will Unite Peace. 34°09, 03.3 and 117°18, 40.3 W. Sent. These are my basic human needs being lost. See below for circled basic human needs that have been lost in this process of allowance for the haters to lose. I need a change in direction priorities commitments. Also, since it has been the faults and source of hate/harassment has been the social service agency leadership themselves, I feel that I should not suffer the harm of having to delay my housing by being subjected to any kind of waiting opportunities to be placed into housing, such as being placed onto the bottom rungs of a waiting list. I should be housed immediately. Circle needs from the hierarchy of basic human needs that are lost by allowing the haters to win. Biological needs, shelter/housing. Safety needs 6 of 7 needs circled. Protection, security, order, law, limits stability. Belonging needs, relationships. Esteem needs, achievement, reputation. Aesthetic needs, beauty. Balance. Self-actualization, personal growth, self-fulfillment.